So Vince Russo has been cooking in JCW these past couple of weeks. Now, ever since I heard Vince Russo was getting involved in Juggalo Championship Wrestling, I started to take a bit more of a interest in it because I'd never really heard of JCW before. I mean, I'd heard of them, but I'd never watched the show. Couldn't tell you any of the wrestlers in the company currently. But then I heard Vince Russo was getting involved, and I'm thinking, damn, okay, this is interesting at least. Whether you love or hate Vince Russo, you're like, okay, this is at least something. This is something new in the wrestling sort of world, and we've not heard of Vince Russo's name being involved in a wrestling company in a number of years now. I think he last said the last time he worked in wrestling was in 2012 with TNA. So it's been 13, 14 years since he's been heavily involved with the wrestling company again. So again, like I said, when I heard that Vince Russo was going to be here, I was excited. I was thinking, wow, we're gonna get some swerves. We're gonna get some new storylines. Everyone's gonna have a character. Everyone's gonna have a storyline. Typical Vince Russo things. But these are things, in my opinion, for the most part, are largely missing in wrestling today, where you don't have enough well-written characters. You don't have enough fluid, constantly moving storylines. Now, WWE can do it a bit. AEW can do it a bit, but it's the exception rather than the rule. When Vince Russo was running the ship, WWE was at the peak of its powers. And when I say in terms of running its ship, I mean in terms of being heavily involved in creative, right? In WWE, technically you could say he was never running the ship, quote unquote. In WCW, he was running the ship for a bit, then that didn't work out so well. And in TNA, he ran the ship for a bit in different ways and had a number of different roles in TNA. But yeah, an interesting guy to say the least. But his involvement in JCW has been immediate. From the get-go, you're seeing a lot more backstage vignettes, a lot more promos, a lot more storytelling, a lot more trying to establish these characters, establish their lore, get them familiar with the crowd, sort of encourage those backstage segments that can add context to stories, make the fans feel more enriched, more in touch with these characters and understand more what they're going through, empathize with them, like them, hate them, etc., cheer them, boo them, at least have a reaction. You don't want to hear guys come out and you can hear a pin drop. That's not what you want from a wrestling company. You want all your guys to be over. Everyone wants to see what this person's going to do next, how they're going to react to this storyline, how they're going to wrestle in this match, how that all interacts, right? And for Vince Russo, for all his faults, at least early on, it's making some interesting wrestling television. Now, is it Ozark? Is it, do you know what I mean? It's not on the level of that, of course not. But is it good? Is it fun? Yeah, it is. It's fun. That's what I'm saying. Like, at least these guys are having fun. The wrestling in WWE is very sanitized, but these guys are very high level athletes, and you can tell they've got a lot of production value there and a lot of production resource. So WWE is going to look good. JCW doesn't look good, and this was something that for me was actually quite interesting when I heard Vince Russo was getting involved in a wrestling company like JCW, because it's not a major company at all. They're not blessed with vast resources or anything, but you think of Vince Russo's career, you look at the quality of talent that he's been able to work with. When he was in WWE, he's working with Undertaker, Stone Cold, The Rock, all these guys, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart for a bit, all these guys, all this talent. Right? Then he goes to WCW. He gets to work, not so successfully with the likes of Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall was probably in and out of the company at that point. Hulk Hogan as well famously had a very bad relationship in WCW with him. But then even in TNA, the likes of Sting, obviously from WCW, Jeff Jarrett, Kurt Angle, Jeff Hardy, all these guys, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, all this talent, Bully Ray, tons, Scott Steiner, Booker I could go on and on. I could go on and on and on. Do you know what I mean? I could go on and on and on. I really could. But he's not got none of that talent in JCW. But that presents you with a new opportunity. You can create new characters, right? There's some guy called Cocaine, who, yes, you can guess it, does a lot of, that. And he's basically like Kane from WWE, but he's just skinnier, has a white mask, and does, yeah, you guessed it, cocaine. And, under Vince Russo, this guy, I don't know what it was like probably before I started watching JCW, but this guy's becoming a bit of a main character. He's involved heavily in like the main storylines. He's mentioned a lot. He's involved in matches. His matches aren't great. Again, you're not going to get that sort of in-ring talent. You're not going to have that sort of, out of ring and in-ring talent that you had in WWE, WCW, and TNA. This is a much lower level of wrestling generally, in terms of everything from production value to quality of wrestling, all of that, right? But it's fun. You can tell these guys are having fun. Vince Russo's being creative. He's building a story. He's telling a story within an episode very well, in my opinion. And he's done that very well throughout the episodes of JCW that I've watched. And particularly these past couple of weeks, I've been sort of waiting on the edge of my seat to see what these guys are going to do on JCW Lunacy each week on Thursday. Like, it's Friday today. I'm recording this on a Friday. I'm working. If I'm not working, I would be watching JCW Lunacy right now because I want to see what's happening in JCW with Vince Russo. Now, Vince Russo has not made his debut on screen. I think he makes it on screen in the episode I'm about to watch now. So maybe I'll make another video later about Vince Russo if he makes his on-screen debut, etc. For all I know, I don't even know if he makes his on-screen debut this episode. But this video will come out probably in the coming weeks anyway. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of Vince Russo's involvement in JCW. Let me know in the comments below. Another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.